So I've been on this decluttering journey now for a couple of years. I thought it would be fun to go through the kitchen, every drawer and cabinet, to see exactly what we have in our kitchen after decluttering a massive amount of items that we never actually used, but I always held on to. I was able to clear off my countertops for the first time in many, many years, and I actually really enjoy cooking and baking. So now when I come in to do those things, it is so much fun. I don't have to stress about cleaning up the kitchen and doing all of this work before I can actually get into the kitchen to cook for my family. So let's take a look. We're gonna start on one side of the kitchen and just work our way around. I always love seeing what other people have in their kitchen, in their drawers and cabinets, just to get an idea of how things are organized in other people's houses. So join me as we do that today. So we'll start on this side of the kitchen. This is my baking area. I have the top cabinet and the bottom cabinet that I like to use for baking. And I had done this quite a while ago now, and it works perfectly for me. As I said, I love to cook and bake, so I have all of my baking items neatly organized. I can very easily get to every item that I have in here. When I do any kind of cookie decorating, I have all of my food colors. I can just pop out this entire container. Down here is the sprinkles. In the back here, I have all of my baking cups that I like to use, the big ones and the smaller ones. This is homemade vanilla that I just keep this container to fill up. In the back here, I have all of my extracts. I have pretty much every flavor that you could think of. And then on the top, I just have some of the gelatin. And then I love this Lazy Susan in here because it really helps to keep everything easily accessible. Some food coloring, some espresso powder, some different things that I don't use all of the time. And then in the back here, I have just some cocoa powder. I have a couple different kinds. Okay, and let's head down to the bottom cabinet. Well, we'll start with this one here. This is where I keep all of my knives now. I used to keep them on a block on the counter, but this is so much better. I bought this off of Amazon. It works beautifully for all of our knives. And then I don't really have a solution for the steak knives, so I do keep those there. If you have little kids, that might not be the best option, but for our family, it works perfectly fine. I thought months and months about buying this air fryer. I really wanted to know where I could store it that was out of the way and wouldn't bother me on the counter. So I did decide to buy it, and it sits right here. It doesn't bother me. I don't use this space for any kind of food prep, so it is okay. And then we're gonna come down to the bottom cabinet where I keep the rest of my baking supplies. So I keep my flour, sugar, cornstarch, baking powder, all of that kind of stuff here. And then in the back there, this is some items that I don't use on a regular basis when I do canning pickles, any kind of pies. Clear gel is approved to use in canning recipes. And then in the back there, I just have some of my cookie decorating tools and more different kind of decorating items for those. But again, they're all in their own packages. The one in the middle there is all of the tips that I use, and then this tin here is for, you can use it for biscuits or cookies or whatever you do for baking. So it just has all the different sizes that you could want, but it's contained in its own container so it doesn't clog up your drawers. So that takes care of the baking area of the kitchen. And then we'll come along here above the microwave. I don't have too much up here. And I did not do anything to these drawers or cabinets before starting this video. I just wanted to show you really what they look like on a regular basis. That's where I keep my cheese shredder and the apple core peeler. And I have a couple of just random plasticware up there as well. And just the flashlight. But that's the only thing that gets kept in this area. If you watch any of my other videos, you'll know that I've done this a couple of times. And again, this is something that needs to be kept up on a fairly regular basis to make it, just to keep it nice and neat. But overall right now, I think it looks pretty good. I absolutely love these organizers. I bought them from the Container Store many years ago, and they work great for all of the spices, just to keep them nice and organized. And then the ones that we use on a regular basis, like the salt, pepper, and then those up there are the ones that we use most frequently. And then on the top, I just keep some of the bulk items to refill those smaller containers. I do keep a small container here by the stove with just some bigger items that don't fit into any of the drawers. And it's okay, it doesn't bother me sitting out on the counter. It looks pretty neat, and I just use these items sometimes, but I do like to have them available. And then this is a new thing that I just bought from Amazon. It's a little salt container. When I'm doing recipes where I need a couple of teaspoons, I like to be able to just easily get that without having to take out my big container of salt. And this looks pretty just sitting on the counter. It does not bother me. So now we can work our way over to this corner cabinet here. I have done a lot of work with this cabinet over the last couple of years. This used to be stuffed full of all kinds of things, and it was really insane. I just thought that I had to get better organization, not that I actually had to get rid of things. So I love, again, the Lazy Susan, where I just keep some frequently used items, but I can get to them easily. I keep a couple of my bigger jars there. That way, when I'm putting fruit away or granola, I have those available. My strainer has been there for many months now, and I absolutely love it. I don't have to go into the closet, which I'll show you later. And there's nothing back there to stop it, so I can easily get this in and out. In the back, I just keep my knife sharpener. And then on the top, we just keep some of the drink mixes, my avocado oil. And in the way back are some lids and rings that I use for when I'm canning. I can just pull out the entire container. So that's that cabinet. Okay, now we're going to go down to this bottom cabinet. Again, this was another one that I always struggled with to keep organized because I was trying to fit too much in there. So I keep all of my cutting boards there, a couple of the pan lids there. And then I like to keep the frequently used oils on these Lazy Susans, again, just because it makes them super easy to access. In the back, I keep more of my bulk spices that I can easily pull out to fill up the jars. And then I just have a smaller container there of some of the towels that I use for drying and cleaning up the kitchen. I'm going to show you, I keep some of them in a drawer as well, but that's like the back stock. Now we'll just come into this area. This is where I keep our cups, coffee mugs. I leave all of my lids that I like to use for, again, like fruit and things like that. They all go in here. And yes, I do use all of these. I do use them all on a regular basis, so they are important for me to keep in here, but they're very easy to get to. I keep our rice cooker up top. I keep the rice cooker up top, and then I use these smaller containers up there for spices and things like that. And I do have a little back stack of bowls that really don't get used all that often, but when the kids have friends over, sometimes they go through the other bowls, so I like to keep those up there. But again, everything is really organized and easy to get to. Let's just go through some of these drawers. This is the silverware drawer. Again, I got this organizer from Amazon. I love it. It has made such a huge difference. I used to have one in here that did not fit the drawer right, so I wasn't able to maximize all the space, but this one expands to the size of the drawer because this is not a very big drawer. So it does work out really well for us. I just keep a pair of scissors, my can opener, our silverware, and a couple other items that we use on a regular basis, and it always stays organized. Down here, I keep all of my spatulas and other utensils for cooking. Again, yes, I do use all of these spatulas, even though there's several of them. They're different sizes, and I do use them all. I have my Danish whisk. It just depends what the recipe is that I'm making. And I like to have some extra serving spoons like this for when we have a party or a get together and the dishes need some extra spoons. It doesn't bother me to keep them in this drawer as long as it stays fitting in this section of the drawer. Down here, I keep all of my baking spoons, baking cups, straws, all different size cookie scoops, a couple of biscuit cutters, and my whisks. And again, yes, I do use all of the whisks. Sometimes I'll go through 3 of them in a day. And there's some items that I can't use a metal whisk when I'm cooking, so I do need to have the silicone one. But I love having everything organized in separate containers. It just keeps it neat and clean and easy to put away. And then down on the bottom here, we keep our bag organizer, foil, bags, and then some of the utensils for mashing up meat, or I use that a lot for when I'm baking to cut up nuts. And then some of our grill supplies are kept down here. So now we're going to come onto the sink. I think it's pretty well organized. I use all of my frequently used cleaners over here on the left. And then I have a couple of extra ones on the right that I like to use on a regular basis. We keep our trash bags here. It would be nice to have them maybe put somewhere else, like up on the wall or something, but for now they're okay there. My dishwasher tabs are right there. Again, some more frequently used cleaners. Eventually I would like to really pare down the cleaners that we use, but for right now it does work. I keep my the Jet Dry here, my bulk soaps that I can refill the ones on the counter with. And then I just have, you might be able to see a little bit better this way. And then I just have again, the individual bins for the steel wool sponges, cloth sponges, my dishwasher tabs to clean it. So it's not perfect, but it is very well organized and I'm able to get to everything very easily. And I love this hook on the door because it very easily holds a towel, which prevents us from using paper towels more often. Now we'll come over to this section here. This is where I keep our plates, bowls, extra water containers, our coffee, and some of medications that we use. I keep my espresso pods there. This is just a little leftover container that I had gotten from something, and I decided to put it in here with our glasses cleaner. It works perfectly. But again, if you can see in the back, there's plenty of room for things to be moved around to easily get to everything. And this was not always the case. Most of these were completely filled to the brim with all kinds of stuff that we never used. I do keep my coffee maker and the toaster in this section all of the time. They do not get put away, but again, we're okay with that. I have all of that space and all of this space to do all of my prepping for meals and things like that. And then in this drawer here, I keep all of my cloths and towels. Again, I clean the counters and everything with the cloth, so I'm not using as many paper towels. And the towels I like to use for drying fruit and things like that when we're washing it. Now this one down here, I would really like to get a different cabinet door and a pull-out for this drawer. That is in the plan. It's not clean, but we used to, this was here when we moved in, and it was just for trash barrels, but we never used them. They're way too small for us. So for right now, I'm just keeping my food processor in there, and I have a couple jars of pea soup that I had canned up, and some empty jars are back there as well. And now we will come around to this section. This is our junk drawer / utility drawer. Again, it's not perfect, but I haven't touched this in several months and it hasn't gotten out of control. So to me, that is a good sign. And then this is our last one here. We've got our meat thermometers. These ones on the right hand side get used for our pellet grill, and just the little odds and ends of things that we do use on a regular basis that I would like to have close by. Actually, these I'm going to be moving to a different section. I'll show you that in a second. Some thermometers for candy and baking, pizza slicer, all of these little things that do get used, and they're nice to have available. And then we'll come underneath to this cabinet here, and under here we've got, again, like I said, I didn't clean this area, but this used to be overflowing where I couldn't even close this thing. It was like piled up high to the top. Now what's left in here we do use. I always take my lunch to work. I use the same containers. We are definitely a family that eats leftovers, so a lot of them get used for leftovers. I keep my big leftovers one up top. Those are the lids, which probably need to be gone through. I'm sure that there's some in there that don't need to be in there. And then I'm going to show you a quick clip of something I had done recently to change this area up underneath. So there is just one area in my kitchen that I would like to get a little bit differently organized. This area in here, since I no longer buy things as much in bulk as I used to, I figured I can get rid of the condiments, put them downstairs in my downstairs pantry, and utilize the space a little bit better. So I would like to add a couple of things in here that I use all of the time, so I can get to those a little bit quicker. I'm going to use a couple of bins that I already have laying around. And the one thing that I would like to add to this is just my hand mixer. I feel like I would get better use from that in here. Right now I keep it in this bucket here, which it's not like it's unorganized, but I think I would just get better use of it a little bit closer, a little bit easier to get to, and I would probably use it more often. All right, so let's just get this stuff out from underneath here. I love keeping my oil and my vinegar in here. It works out perfectly. I use them all of the time. These I had bought for garlic. When I buy the garlic already pre-peeled, then I can chop it up, and I think I'm gonna like this a little bit better than just throwing them into chunks in the freezer. So I haven't used those yet because I still have about a tray left. I've been drinking these Element electrolyte replacements, and I really do like them. At first it was a little shocking, honestly, how salty it was, but they are very good once you get used to them. This doesn't get used. My husband had bought it a couple years ago, but he doesn't want to get rid of it, and that's okay. So these don't need to be in there. I can put those downstairs in the pantry. And I think everything else is okay to stay. I'll probably leave this in here if it stays. I just use this when I'm baking any kind of pie. I can use this as pie weights. They're just beans that I reuse over and over again. So those I think can stay in the back. And then these could probably get moved downstairs for right now. The kids will sometimes bring hot lunches to school, but for right now they don't need to be in here. All right, so that's the space that we're working with. And everything else is, I love the organization that I have going on in here. I'm going to show you guys a video coming up soon of my entire kitchen and how everything is organized. It took a couple of years to finally get to this point, but now that I'm here, I am loving my kitchen. This is the one area that I want to do. All right, so now I'm just going to take this bin, and I had gotten this new mixer a little while back, and I love it. It's just super convenient. It's very lightweight, easy to use, but I think I'm gonna like storing it right in here so I can easily access it. And then I really wanted to keep I like using the parchment paper. I would love to have a drawer, but I just don't have that room in here. So I love to keep this parchment paper for when I'm baking anything on the baking sheets, I can just throw it on. It was being stored in the basement, so every time I had to go down and get one, I would have to go downstairs, just get one parchment paper. It was a pain in the butt. So I'm gonna store this in here. This is gonna be so nice to just have that right there. And then I needed a place to store the air fryer liners that I picked up. That's so the kids obviously don't have to do as much work with them. So I picked these up, and I think this will be nice to have. And I'm just gonna store them right in here, just like that. And then that's perfect. We still have plenty of room for the vinegar and the oil. So let me just show you what it looks like. So everything fits in there perfectly. We've got the sheet pan liners, the air fryer liners, and then my mixer right in that one. And then I'm going to put the vinegar and the oil back. And now I think the kitchen is complete. So for right now, I just put them downstairs in the pantry. I need to go through and reorganize this entire pantry as well, but that is not for today. I moved a couple of the other things, the mustard over there. And again, this whole thing needs a rehaul, but today's not the day. And then I just put those containers right there for now, and the ice tray up there for the garlic. That way I'm not using valuable real estate in my kitchen for things that are not being used all of the time. I put that big pan, I found that I wasn't using it because where I had it before was way too heavy and I couldn't get to it. So now that I have it here, I use it all of the time. And then behind here, I always keep my vinegar, my oil, and I just recently put these things in here. I'm going to show you, like I said, I'll throw in the clip of what was in here before and what we did to change this area. But I am going to throw these right in there where they belong. Now we'll come over to this section. It's a little buffet that we use. And again, I could probably go through this and declutter it even a little bit more, but everything is pretty well organized. I'm able to find everything that I need, and we know where to look when we are looking for things. The second drawer, we've got some leftover tests there, some more glass cleaner. I keep one of my recipe books in there and just some extra paper to have little notes and things like that. All right, and then we've got underneath here, I bought these bins off Walmart and they have worked really well just to keep everything separated and organized. And then we'll come into this closet. Sorry, I have the air conditioning on if you can hear that. But this is the closet that it used to be a coat closet. I've turned it into my kitchen closet. And I keep all of the things like the salad spinner, some of the big pans, bowls that we use all of the time, our pots, pans, cookie sheets, all of the different bowls and bakeware that I use. And then underneath I keep my canner and my Instant Pot. So this used to be a complete disaster until we finally installed the shelves, and I've had to go through it many times to keep it organized. And then we have this small area here where I bought this basket from Target, and we just keep all of our dog treats in there. It just makes it look a lot neater than having everything spread out. It just keeps it contained. And then I would like to figure out something better for the cereal there. We do have our pantry. It needs to be redone again. I'll probably do that in the next week or so. But I love having this pantry here just for having access to everything pretty quickly. And it's pretty well organized, although I do need to go through and figure out a couple other ways to organize things. And then I like to keep the bread and things in here, which obviously we need more of, but so that is a quick tour of my kitchen. I hope you got some value out of it. I know for myself, I used to look at Pinterest and all of these YouTubers that had massively big kitchens, fully updated, and just think that I wanted to do all of that until I realized that I had to make the kitchen that I have currently work for me in the best way possible. And that took a lot of decluttering, going through things several times over and over again before actually realizing what items I wanted in my house and what items I could do without. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week. Bye.